Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Tinkerbell and the Great Fairy Rescue. So yeah, this is another donation reward movie reaction for Smurf. Thank you once again to Smurf for donating for this. And just like a couple weeks ago, we are getting back to Tinkerbell. So, just as a recap, the first Tinkerbell movie of this... Would it be quintology? Is that 5? Am I getting the right term here? Because I think there's 5 of them total. I can look it up actually. I have that I have it bookmarked. Yes, there are 3 more after this. Okay. So I think that's still quintology. But either way, this is the next movie in that. Wait, hold on. No, that would be sectology. There's 6. Why did I think there was 5? And also, that is sect, right? Sect, sieben, acht, neun. That's also not correct. I'm thinking German. Why am I thinking German? I'm a mess right now, clearly. But there are 6 of them. Whatever that would be. A sextology? Sextillion? I don't know. I don't know. There's 6 of them. This is the 3rd. There are 3 more after this. There were 2 that came before. So, recap on the first 2. The original Tinkerbell, I had issues with. I had some notable issues with how the lesson was taught. Even if unintentional, it came across in a pretty negative way. And there was a lot about it that just wasn't that interesting. But based on what I thought of the second movie, it kind of almost seems like it was set up. Like the entire first movie was just a setup film to establish the world and the characters and everything, which makes me believe that they had more films already planned from the start. That the first movie was legitimately supposed to be set up. Because the second movie is so much better in every way. The characters are handled better, and they're better utilized, I guess you could say. The characters who should be side characters don't feel like main characters, basically. They're given the right amount of screen time. The focus is split properly. It feels more natural in its handling of that. It's more exciting and less boring. There's more happening to where it actually feels like it's, doing something. And on top of that, the lesson that's taught is actually very well handled. It's not perfect by any means, and it's not like the most exciting, interesting movie I've reacted to or seen this year or whatnot. But it actually made a huge improvement that I acknowledge. And I compared it to the Disney's Descendants films. The first Descendants film, like the first Tinkerbell, had some issues in my opinion. It wasn't perfect. There were some definite problems with the pacing especially. And some parts of it were a little too cheesy in the wrong way. But the second movie was a drastic improvement in pretty much every way, and it made the first one feel like a lot of setup. Like it was just there to set things up and really establish the world before truly going into the heart of things. And Descendants 3 was even better. Now that everything had been set up and established, they were allowed to do a lot more twists and exciting additions and everything, and some really good conclusions to story arcs as well, such as with Uma. And I compared those movies to the first two Tinkerbells here in regards to the fact that the second is that much better than the first. And I still stand by that. Like, yeah, there's obviously a lot different between the actual plots and everything of the movies, but just in terms of like the pacing improving, the character work improving, the story itself improving, just the general improvement on all of it is very much felt in the same way between these two movie franchises, you could say. So I even said last time, like, okay, yeah, I'm very much invested in seeing more of these. And this one was already requested. It was requested at the same time as the last one. They were requested together as part of this June special, which, as a reminder, for the entire rest of the month of June, which I know there's not a lot left, but for the entire rest of the month still of June 2022, you get two donation rewards for the price of one. For every donation, you get two rewards. You can have me react to two different things. They can be movies, they can be shows, YouTube videos, or even some kind of combination thereof. And donations, as always, can be any amount. Big or small, doesn't matter, whatever you can do and whatever you want to do. It's completely optional, as always. You don't have to donate if you can't or don't want to. It's just a way to get you guys involved and to have you allow me to check out some stuff that I probably would have never checked out otherwise. It's gotten to let me see a bunch of great stuff. Both shows, movies, all of that stuff. So if you can, if you're willing to, we still have a little bit of time left in June, so you can once again donate, and every separate donation gets you two rewards. So yeah, just reminding you all of that. And at this moment, pretty much all the money's going into TrotCon next month, but still, it definitely helps out, especially since I have to help pay my friend for the hotel room. But yeah, either way, I am excited to see more of this. And so I think even if this movie's not as good as the second one, even if it's not, at this point, I think I'm still invested in seeing this series all the way through. So, Smurf, I assume you're watching this. When you see this, if you want to donate for the others, again, when and if you can and if you want to, please do so. Please feel free. Just let me know. Since there's 3 of them left, that probably have to be between 2 different donations. I guess if you could just figure out something to put with the second one, you could figure that out. There's plenty of movies. I've given you like lists on like Instagram and stuff and ideas, and there's the Discord list as well, just as some ideas. But we can talk about it in the comments. But yeah, I'm definitely interested no matter what. And I can see from the second one how this could continue to progressively get better and better. And I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping it does do a Descendants here and get better with each one. That would be the best option, honestly. The best outcome of this. So this is called The Great Fairy Rescue. I obviously don't know anything about the movie preemptively. Like, I have not seen any clips or screenshots or anything, to the best of my knowledge, at least. Based on the title, I assume there's going to be a rescue. Someone's going to be in trouble, and they're going to need to be rescued. Now, I don't know if the title means that the people doing the rescuing are going to be fairies, or if the fairy themselves is going to need to be rescued. Because that could mean either or both, even. I don't know what the intent behind the specific wording of it is. I have not seen, like, even what the cover of this looks like. So I know nothing about this movie going into it. which again is the way I like it, the way I prefer it. So hopefully everything goes well. Hopefully it all turns out well. Hopefully it's good. And if it continues the same kind of vibes the last one did with the more adventure kind of idea, it doesn't have to be like super action packed or anything. Like last time we did get a couple action scenes like with the rats and all. It doesn't have to go like as super hard about that. But as long as there's some like maybe good adventure and stuff, and with a great fairy rescue, there definitely could be great adventure, great character work, great storytelling. It's like that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for here. And as long as we get that, that'll be good. So yeah, I'm actually excited to get into this. Unlike with the second one, I wasn't as excited to get into it. I was definitely willing to check it out, but I wasn't as excited about it. But after how good the second one was comparatively, I'm actually excited to get into this, get into more of this. And no matter what, Mae Whitman does do a great job as Tinkerbell. Like, she really does. And also, I think I mentioned this last time too. The second movie actually showcased some of the personality I know Tinkerbell for with Disney's Peter Pan. Like, you know what I'm talking about? That kind of sassy and temperamental personality. That wasn't really showcased as much in the first movie. But the second movie actually showcased that a lot better, and it's like that. It felt more like Tinkerbell, like the Tinkerbell I know, and it's like I really liked that. So I'm really hoping that like maybe we're gonna see kind of how she becomes the Tinkerbell that we saw in Peter Pan, how she becomes that sassy, temperamental fairy. That would be a good way to handle this, I feel. And the last one also gave some little Easter eggs for Peter Pan too, showcasing the pirate ship and everything, the Skull Island, which again I think was in Peter Pan, but also Tinkerbell's outfit was very reminiscent of Peter Pan, like very much so. So it's like there's a lot of little hints that here and there about maybe even what could have been the story about when Peter first came to Neverland and everything. A lot of questions I have now. And I wonder if they'll end up getting answered or not. I don't know. But either way, I am, like I said, excited to get to more of these. So yeah, I can't wait for you, Smurf, to donate for the others. They will definitely be put on the list when you do. Yeah, I'm genuinely into this now. It's funny because I had heard of the Disney fairy movies and all the Tinkerbell movies like well in the past, like when they were first coming out and stuff. And it's like I was at the time in a very different place, as you know, and I was operating under the idea that I had to be stereotypically manly. You know what I mean? I was operating under that idea because that's what I was raised to think about myself, and because of it, anytime I heard about those films, it's like I'm not interested. This sounds stupid and girly. And now looking at it, it's like I'm excited to see one. It's just really funny to me. It's also really nice, you know, to know that I've gotten to a point in my life where I can just honestly enjoy things a lot more and be myself without having to pretend to be someone else just to fit a mold that I never fit into in the first place. So it's really nice being able to enjoy these. Not just because, you know, I like being able to enjoy stuff that I react to, but because there is a story there, believe it or not. Like, I had heard about these movies, like, when I was in not high school, college, right out of high school. There a group of friends from a church I was going to at the time. We like got together like on Halloween and watched Tinkerbell, or not Tinkerbell, Hook, rather, the Robin Williams Peter Pan movie. Tinkerbell is in it, though she's very different in that. Not bad. It was a good performance, but very different. But yeah, Dustin Hoffman's in it as well. Hook is fantastic. A criminally underrated movie, in my opinion. But it's like that's where I actually first heard about the Tinkerbell movies, during that little hangout. And again, it's just like, I was just like, no, not for me. That's too girly for me. That's not my thing. And now I look back at myself. It's just one of the very many occasions where I look back at myself and want to slap myself. I want to slap my younger self for thinking like that, for multiple reasons. But especially because it's like, there is a lot of potential here. And I'm really hoping it capitalizes on that. I really am. And I think I read, one last thing before we begin. I think I read that this series of movies was actually canceled. Yeah, there was a 7th film planned. It was going to be called Tinkerbell and the Unknown Season. And its original release date was going to be around 2020. Interesting. But as of 2018, June of 2018, almost exactly to the day, because it says June 28th and it's the 20th, so very close, a week away. But Walt Disney Company closed the production studio that worked on these movies, Disney Toon Studios. And so it was just canned. But apparently there's going to be a live-action Tinkerbell film with Reese Witherspoon. And it says even as of 2021, it re-entered development. So I guess that's going to possibly be happening sometime in the future. But yeah, this movie is from 2010. And I'm definitely interested to see what this Great Fairy Rescue is. It sucks that the series ended up being canceled, but hopefully the 6 films we got are still satisfying and really good quality. And the art and animation might improve little bits each time. I'm sure you won't notice it while watching, but maybe like by the end, if you compare the first movie to the 6th movie, it'll be like night and day. I don't know, maybe. But either way, like I said, I'm excited to see where this goes, and with a title like this, I'm hoping for some great rescue adventure stuff. That all being said, we're just going to get into this and hope for the best. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, yeah, Smurf, when you're ready, please donate for those other ones when you're ready and able. Because, yeah, this was the best one yet. It keeps up my comparison to the Descendants movies, with each one being better than the last. That has continued to be the case. And I think the biggest thing about this is it gave me what I wanted in having the adventure aspect of it, even if it was a little less than I expected and hoped. But it also gave a lot of good character stuff with these human characters. And gave a very realistic issue that was solved in a very fantastic way. That, of course, not entirely realistic, but in a very sweet and wholesome and well-handled way, for sure. So yeah, basically, Tinkerbell and all her curiosity ends up going out with Vidya at one point, and they're exploring a little bit. Tinkerbell ends up getting captured after Vidya gets angry at her, and so Vidya has to go get help, and so we have two different sides to a lot of this story. The sides of the fairies adventuring to go save Tinkerbell, and then Tinkerbell forming a connection and friendship with this young girl. And both sides to this were done really well. The adventure stuff was exactly what I expected from this series with adventure stuff. It was what I hoped for. I do wish there was a little more of it, but for what we got, it was good. It was well handled. And then the stuff with Tinkerbell becoming friends with this girl. God, what was her name? I'm bad with names, you know that, Lizzie. Becoming friends with Lizzie was really well handled. The issues that Lizzie was having with her father, allowing her to connect with Tinkerbell, as well as it gave us a little bit of lore confirmation on the fact that in this is continuing the thing about, like, you know, people can normally only hear fairies speak as if like they're bells. It is a completely different language that fairies are speaking, and we only hear it as English in order for us to be able to understand it as viewers. But they are speaking an entirely different language that to the human ear sounds like bells. But they understand English too, which is interesting. Because it's very clear that Tinkerbell and the others completely understood what the humans were saying. So that's interesting. There are also a couple things that, yeah, it's like, okay, this is referencing the Peter Pan movie and everything, just like the last one. They weren't as bold as the last one with it, though. Except for the clock tower. That was the big, obvious one. But they were definitely in there. The art and animation, again, it might be slightly better, but not enough to really take notice of it. Like, it's not, like, super noticeable. The voice acting is great. Apparently, the actress who played Lizzie, I looked it up in between. Apparently, she was 12 when that movie came out. And that's when it came out. She probably did the voice acting, like, a year or so before, so probably 11 when she actually performed it. She did a good job. Like, genuinely a very good job. I definitely want to give her credit for that. She's like 25 now, because, you know, this movie came out in 2010, but still, which it's like, geez, 2010 was 12 years ago. But still, it's really genuinely interesting to see how far this series has come. Like, this movie went right into it really quickly. Like, they go to this fairy camp at the beginning, but it takes no time to get into the plot. Like, the fairy camp is just there as basically a reason that they're near humans. It's just, it's setup. It is pure setup. It is purely there to further the plot. It's not actually part of the plot itself, which is fine. It's a plot device. It is. And there's nothing wrong with having plot devices, as long as they're properly utilized. And I think it was here. It didn't overstay its welcome. They didn't try to make it seem like it was going to be more important. No, it was just there to clearly set the scene. The movie went straight into things. It didn't hold back anything time-wise. It was paced well after the fact. And I love what they did with the different characters. With Vidya and her character growth, getting to see the relationships between this family, this single father and his daughter and everything, getting to see how they connect and how they talk and how they clearly have a little bit of a strained relationship because he's putting his work so far above everything else and is not giving enough time and attention to her, though he clearly wanted to the entire time. It's like, yeah, and you get to see how it's going to kind of go as the movie continues along. You kind of start to understand. It's like, oh yeah, he's going to start seeing things eventually. He's going to eventually see the fairies. He's probably not going to understand at first, but eventually he'll warm up to it. And that's basically what happened. Obviously, he went a little bit in the wrong direction at first, trying to take one as a not experiment, specimen. And yeah, it could have gone very wrong. Like the butterflies. It's like, it kind of puts it in a different context when you're watching this, like with the fairies as, like, you know, kind of the main characters on. Then you see how connected to nature they are, and specifically animals like butterflies and mice and squirrels and stuff. And then you see a bunch of dead butterfly corpses pinned in these display cases. It's like, you saw Vidya's look of absolute sheer terror. It's like, this girl's gonna need some fucking counseling. Because, like, it'd be like us going into someone's house and seeing, like, a cat pinned to a wall in a display case. Like, I guess there are some people who, like, have animals, like, stuffed and everything, like taxidermied, but even that freaks me out quite a bit. Like I'm not exactly okay with taxidermy. It's upsetting. So it's like, I can very much understand her absolute horror at seeing that, and it's just like, God. And just the fact that one of the core parts of this film is fixing family issue, like a deep-seated family issue that has to do with a father who is overworking himself and not paying enough attention to or caring enough for his daughter and everything. It's like, Jesus, this is getting real. But I like that. I like that it's getting real, because there's a lot of little girls who watch this movie who are probably going to be able to relate to this. And it's going to be hard. And it's hard being a single parent. Like, you have to understand that too. Like, it's clear, like, that's why he needed the help in having her get some help. He needed help with watching her from that other lady when he went away, because he was so busy with his work and everything that he wasn't putting forth enough time to just be a parent. Which is why that ending with him laying in the grass under the tree with her, just reading her book of research and everything with the fairies all around them, it's like, it's so fucking satisfying. It is so satisfying because of how real the issue is. And the fact that he is an overworked single parent, and seeing him getting to just relax and spend time with his daughter. Like that's what you want to see. That's just what you want to see in real life too. It's great. It's fantastic. I was invested the entire time watching this. I was genuinely really into this. And it's like, the last one had some great adventure stuff in it, some great references to Peter Pan and everything. And this one, it held my attention even better. It was just, I was invested again. I was super into it. And that's a very good thing. The fact that this series has gone from the first movie being not bad, but full of issues, in my opinion, to now being like just really exciting and like hyping me up like this, I love seeing that. I loved seeing that with Descendants, and I love seeing it here. Hell, you could even make the same kind of comparison with like Ruby. I feel that Ruby at the beginning was chock full of issues and limitations due to how it was, created and everything. Especially with the animation. Like, geez, those early volume Ruby volumes. Yeah, the early volume Ruby animation was rough. It had so many issues, and even the story had a lot of issues, especially with pacing. And I've always said that each volume of Ruby has been better than the last. And even with the big fucking mistake they made in the most recent volume, it's like, I still stand by that. So you could still make that comparison as well with just the fact that each one has been better than the last. Seasons or volumes with Ruby compared to movies with Descendants and this, but still. It's just wild to think about. It's wild to think about that a series of media can just improve so consistently like this. Because usually it's not this consistent. But the fact that with these media, with these examples, it has been, it's exciting. Because every time you watch a new one, it's like you just get more and more excited for the next. Because each one is better than the last. So like the next one, for example, the next one is called Secret of the Wings. Or not The Wings, just Secret of Wings. And then there's two more after that as well. I'm really excited for now. Like, more so than I was excited for this one. I was really excited for this one. And it's because this one was so good, was so investing, was so entertaining. I'm into it. I am so into this. So like I said, Smurf, when you're able, and only when you're able and when you're willing to, please donate for the rest of these. There's 3 more movies. And once again, if you make it for the June donation reward special, then there would probably be 2 more donations, because it's like, if there's 3 of them, 1 donation would be 2 rewards. So yeah, it would have to be 2 more, and you would just, I guess, have to find something to add in with the second one, or with the third one, technically. The last of the movies. And you could find something. Again, I've given you some ideas and everything here, and hopefully that can help you try to figure out something. Or even if you could just think of something like maybe that you've watched recently that you might think I could maybe get into. If you want to discuss it, I can discuss it with you in the comments, of course. But yeah, I want to see more. Like last time I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm into this. I want to see more. But now I want to see more. Like, it's the way I'm saying it. I don't want to see more. I want to see more. I hope I'm making sense. I'm so worried all the time if I'm making sense or anything with some of these things I say. The joys of being autistic and always being very self-conscious about everything you say and do. But yeah. I definitely can't wait to see more of this. Like, I'm really interested in this now. And again, all the voice actors do a great job. I really enjoy the fact that Vidya is Bobby from King of the Hill. That's funny as hell to me. And Mae Whitman, obviously great as always. I still say, like, when Tinkerbell was confronting the father, she was cussing him out. Like, all we heard was the bell sounds. Her face was bright red. I 100% believe that she was cussing him out. And that's another thing. Like I said in the pre-thoughts, the second movie definitely showed more of Tinkerbell's sassier, more aggressive side than the first movie did, the side we see in the Peter Pan movie, and this one showed that as well. Like, just that shot, that sequence alone was a great example of how Tinkerbell is as we know her from Peter Pan. So yeah, I really love that. Also, it kind of dated it with, like, basically implying that cars are a new invention, and showing that this family at this point having a car means that they probably have some level of privilege, which did end up being the case. Her father's a scientist. So it's like, yeah, there's actually something to this. There's actually little things that you can infer from very little. And I like it when movies or shows or games or whatnot do that. They give you a little crumb of something and you can figure everything else out around it. I really like that. So yeah, I really loved this movie. Like, I can actually say loved this movie. But I would love to hear your thoughts. Tell me in the comments below, what did you think of Tinkerbell and the Great Fairy Rescue? Let me know down below. And yeah, once the last 3 are donated for, I will definitely be getting to them. I can't wait. For the time being, though, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See you all next time.